Welcome back to our Elul reflections. During the month of Elul, I'm sharing some pieces of liturgy that were written by our members in 2020 and 2021 to use them as guides for our journey through Elul this year. Today's passage is rather close to home. This was written by Zafra Amswych, who's my daughter, and myself. And it's a piece called Israel's Tovu. And I'll provide a little bit of context. The idea behind this, as Zafra and I sat down to write a piece, was what kind of liturgy do we want to write? Maybe we want to have a piyut that plays off another piece of liturgy. And Zafra suggested Tovu, and asked what it would be like if Jacob, were to have written Tovu. Tovu itself says the following: "How lovely are your tents, O Jacob, and your encampments, O Israel. As for me, through your abundant love, I enter your house to worship in awe in your sacred place. Eternal God, I love the house where you dwell and the place where your glory tabernacles. I shall prostrate myself and bow. I shall kneel before the eternal God, my Maker. To you, Eternal One, goes my prayer. May this be a time of your favor. In your abundant love, O God, answer me with the truth of your salvation." So it specifically talks about Jacob, gives him both names, Jacob and Israel, which uses this idea of biblical poetry. As I mentioned in an earlier commentary, biblical poetry doesn't rhyme in the way that we understand rhyme. For us, rhyming is same sounds, or similar sounds. But for the Bible, rhyme is similar names or similar terms. So how lovely are your tents, O Jacob, and your homes, O Israel. It quite deliberately plays off each other. And so this piece is based particularly after that moment in Genesis chapter 28, when Jacob wakes up from this extraordinary dream and says, God was in this place, but I did not know. And the key part of this is at the end of that dream, he is blessed. So this is Israel's Tovu commentary by Rabbi Neil and Zafra Amswych. This is none other than the abode of God. Here and now is the gateway to heaven. Adonai, I love your holy blessing, the dwelling place of relief from sorrows. I, through your abundant love, turn curse into blessing. I bow down in awe at your faithful love. El Shaddai, be with me today and protect me. Do not forsake me as I struggle anew. Remain with me as I lift up my voice. Bestow upon me the abundance of life. I am unworthy of the kindness you have steadfastly shown me. Adonai is in this place. Help me to hold this to be true. So when Zafra and I wrote this, we deliberately tried to copy the biblical rhyming idea. This is none other than the abode of God and the gateway to heaven. We did that quite deliberately. I, through your abundant love, turn curse into blessing. We're deliberately playing off the original Tovu text here, which says, as for me, through your abundant love, I enter your house to worship with awe in your sacred place. In Tovu, the abundant love is expressed through being able to gather together in prayer. Whereas here, this is a really bold theological statement. I, through your abundant love, turn curse into blessing. It's a really bold theological statement. In one of the Torah readings for the High Holy Days, we're adjured to choose life instead of to curse and death. We're adjured to choose life and blessing. So we're deliberately picking up on the idea that it's in our hands, that curse or blessing is in our hands. But the awareness of that and the ability to do that, that is the expression of God's love. We deliberately mirrored, I shall prostrate myself and bow, I shall kneel before the eternal God my Maker. We changed that slightly to, I bow down in awe at your faithful love. And again, this is Israel's Mar Tovu. This is Israel at that moment, that extraordinary moment where he's just come to realize how special this place is and what a special connection he has. So he's not bowing down to enter a place. He's not bowing down at God the Maker. He's bowing down in awe of God's faithful love. And then near the end, Adonai is in this place. Again, we're going back to the very beginning. This is none other than the abode of God. Here and now is the gateway of heaven. We're really very clearly spelling out that passage from Genesis 28. But Adonai is in this place. Help me to hold this to be true. Adonai is in this place. Help me to hold this to be true. I think we revealed a lot about ourselves and our own theology in this line. Adonai is in this place is not a statement of fact. It's a statement of intent. It's a statement not about God, but about us. Where Jacob, I think perhaps very clearly refers to this as a statement of fact. God was in this place and I didn't realize. I didn't know. What Zafra and I think we're saying here is God is in this place. Help me to make that be true. And help me to hold this to be true. I think is a really lovely statement that I look back at this and think, wow, I like that. Because God being in one place, God being with us, that's one thing. Us holding God with us, that's another. And so for the month of Elul, I find this a rather powerful passage. That God is with us, so long as we hold that to be true. That we have the power to turn curse into blessing, and we do so through God's love. And particularly, El Shaddai, be with me today and protect me. Exodus chapter 6, verses 2 to 3 says Shaddai was the name by which God was known to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So this is another understanding of God. Be with me today and protect me is a request. Do not forsake me as I struggle anew. Because the month of Elul is a month of struggle. And it's very easy to become disheartened as we come to realize the difficulties in ourselves. And so this prayer, this piyut, is asking for God to be with us and reminding ourselves that we need to help God be with us. It's a theology of relationship. It's a theology of connection and commitment. And then, very deliberately, we added, remain with me as I lift up my voice. The kol, the voice, is really important. Voice, when we say the blessing over the shofar, which I'll do shortly, the blessing is lishmoa kol shofar. Let us hear, thanking God who commands us to hear the sound of the shofar. But kol is voice as well. A bat kol is the heavenly voice that comes from heaven, that calls to us. And so we lift up our voice at this point during the month of Elul. We ask for blessing, but we realize the power for blessing is in our hands. And we have to lift up our voice in prayer and in thanks, and in so doing find the strength to turn curse into blessing. That blessing that I mentioned for the shofar, lishmoa kol shofar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher gideshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lishmoa kol shofar. I wish you a wonderful day, a day of recognizing that here and now is the gateway to heaven, that God dwells with us, and that we have the power to turn curse into blessing. Have a wonderful day, and we'll be back in a couple of days.